Okay, so we're going to be making a video now about minimalism. So this is a follow-up to a previous video we made called Living with a Non-Minimalist. But since then, there has been one change in our life, which has been that we got engaged.
Married.
Well, we didn't get married yet. You keep saying that. It's not the same thing. So a lot of people have said, like, oh, like everything's gonna change. It's gonna feel different.
No. It feels exactly the same.
Yeah.
I'm trying to keep this PC, but all I'm thinking in my head is, you're still my bitch. And I know you're gonna cut that out.
I'm not your bitch.
You're my bitch.
No, I'm not. That's not true. Our engagement was a little bit unconventional in that we talked about it a lot. I think people generally do talk about their engagement quite a bit these days, but we really got into the details about not exactly when I was gonna do it, but we knew that it was gonna happen over the summer. And
I helped orchestrate you asking for my dad's blessing.
Yeah, there was a lot of transparency there. There was a Pinterest board with the rings that you liked.
Oh yeah, and I sent it to him and made him a collaborator to the board. Not to add, but to view.
To view, yeah. I wasn't allowed to actually make any changes to it. I bought you an engagement ring, but apart from that one ring I made you, I have never gotten you any other jewelry.
I know.
Ever. Makes it more meaningful to have one.
We still have a lifetime of opportunities ahead of us for more jewelry giving.
I say that's the only one.
No, I want one of those.
All right, so now to answer some of your questions about minimalism and relationships. I got a question from Amos John. What's the hardest thing to ever happen to both of you because of minimalism?
Moving in is tough. Not just in terms of accumulating stuff, but also decor. I feel like your general style tastes are different to mine. And there was that one time that you bought that heinous orange rug that looked like a cat had thrown up on it.
You know, I thought I had feng shui, but
no,
it didn't.
You had feng nay.
That was a good one. Any friction that happens is really because of our different tastes. Question number 2, Money Muse asks, do you guys share money? I guess we could go all the way back to the very first date.
Yeah.
Because money played a role in the first date, and it plays a role in most couples' relationships in the very beginning, because it's all about who's gonna pay for things.
And no judgment, but I have judgment over girls who don't want to split the bill. Come on. I don't want to have to deal with, and I know this sounds ridiculous, but I don't want to have to deal with the burden of guilt that you paid for something and then I may not want to see you anymore.
Right.
Not talking, kissing and sex aside, that I may not want to see you anymore. You know what I mean?
We can't talk about sex on this channel. This is a PG channel.
Sexual relations.
Now you're getting awkward.
I'm gonna walk this situation off, and I will see you later.
It's kind of like an independence, though, too. You're a very independent person.
I think it's fueled by self-preservation. And childhood trauma.
We're peeling back the layers. I'm working on minimalism, but my boyfriend isn't. When you guys moved in together, did you have trouble finding space for her belongings? I think every space is inherently limited to its constraints. Yeah. There's only so much stuff that you can have.
So surely he's noticing this too. This isn't a subjective
thing. Very likely. There's only so much stuff you can bring. And I think it starts with having a conversation with your partner about if you feel like that you are too cluttered, then you need to talk about that and you need to figure out a way to remedy it. I think that if you set up systems in place and you maybe optimize your storage, that's one way to help, especially if you're dealing or living with somebody who isn't a minimalist, where they're not willing to get rid of their stuff. All right, I'm gonna set up a system so we can maybe have storage under the bed. We can have additional places to store things in the closet to keep everything tidy and organized. Because when it even comes down to me and all the camera gear that I own, I actually own a lot of stuff. And if we counted all my camera gear, it's probably more stuff than what you own. But I've developed a system where I keep everything in cabinets in the same place. So even when I'm shooting videos or in between shooting videos, I can tuck it all away. It's nice and organized.
Yeah, maybe it's
and I don't feel overwhelmed.
Maybe it's a storage thing. Like maybe Jennifer's partner's stuff could benefit from a storage system, you know, versus like, I mean, my closet's a mess, But
even like your closet, it's a mess, but we have like the rack with the shoes on it. Like we're using our space to the best ability.
If we didn't have that, we'd be
It would just be
screwed.
shoes on the floor everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the little things like that, and it has to be adapted to your environment because we wouldn't have the same. Like if we had a bigger closet space for you, we would probably do it a little bit differently.
Yeah.
So Bezos says, "Do you ever fight about being messy? How do you manage the housework?"
Do we fight? I don't think we ever fight about being messy. But you should take this question because we should, and you don't let it get to you.
I pick up all your stuff and I just throw it in the closet. And you're fine with it, I'm fine with it, and it seems to work well for us.
Yeah.
I kind of have like a system that I think helps to keep the place tidier.
But you enjoy it. He loves it.
I think the fact though that we don't have a lot
Activities.
of stuff combined.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about most people's houses, they have tons of shit. They have 300,000 items in their homes.
Yeah.
So if you look at our home, like people actually do come here and they're like, "Oh wow, yeah, you guys are minimalists."
Really?
Yeah, like whenever I have somebody over for the podcast, they're like, "Oh yeah, you guys are," and I'm like, "I don't."
Where
see
else
it."
would we put stuff?
That's
though?
what I said. Yin Dang asks, "Is it possible to share more how you achieve the level of letting your partner be who she is and make peace with it?"
What do you mean make peace with it?
yeah. Make peace with all their faults.
I'm kind of offended, Ying Dang,
Yeah.
at what you're trying to suggest.
It starts with yourself, like being happy with who you are, being confident in who you are, and most importantly, being self-aware. I think to your credit, you're very self-aware. You can laugh at yourself. If I can call you on your bullshit. Like if you're doing something that's like, maybe you're like poking my buttons or whatever, or poking my buttons, pushing my buttons.
Poke.
You've been looking at the lens, right, and not that?
Nope.
What have you
I've been
looking
looking at myself. I'm talking to me.
Have you though?
I have not looked at the camera one single time. I'm not joking. Oh my gosh. Wait. Thanks everyone for listening. That's it for the episode. As always, tune in and subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. We do videos all the time. We do podcasts every Wednesday. We'll actually do another one of these next month. We're not doing another one of these next month.
Wait, read the thing. Just read it.
We'll do another one of these next month. Ask your questions in the comments. And a huge thank you to my fiance, Natalie Pitty. Give me a kiss, sugar. Wait, we're not filming this again. You can include this in the video. It'll be like a funny thing at the end. Like, you've been looking at the lens, right? And I'm like, no.